What's going on, guys? For today's video, I'm going to go over how much it actually costs to sample different clothing items, all the way from t-shirts to hoodies to pants and things of that nature. Going over cut and sew, overseas manufacturing, as well as some domestic stuff here in the US. My personal experience with that is I mostly used blanks and had local screen printers, but pretty much want to go over to give you just as much value as possible of how much it actually costs to sample different products, as well as for each of the ones that I have released. I will go over how many roughly of them I made and how much it roughly costed me. And then finally, every product that I talk about today, I will link the manufacturer down below in the comments that I used for them. So most of them will be Alibaba links, as well as a couple blank manufacturers and things of that nature. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. The first thing I want to go over is non-cut and sew. So for example, a blank t-shirt, you can get most blanks. So when you work with a local screen printer before, they'll normally have a catalog already about for you to pick and choose from for, again, how heavy you want the garment to be, just all kinds of things you might want within the garment. Of course, you're going to see like some gilded blanks, you might see some like comfort colors, all kinds of things with rip tags and things of that nature. But yeah, you can choose with most local screen printers what blank you want to use. Now, for most of my blanks that I actually use when I do use a printer here in the US and don't go the cut and sew route, I use this blank manufacturer called Made Apparel. I'll definitely link them down below. They are probably my favorite for both just cost and quality. This shirt right here, I believe, was like a 6.5 ounce t-shirt. Pretty nice quality. Again, nothing too crazy, but it really only cost me, I believe, $7 to $8 a t-shirt tops. And then, of course, the local printing costs. When you use a local screen printer, it's going to cost you a lot more, most likely, than going overseas cut and sew, simply due to just, again, some things with labor costs, as well as a little bit of quality, but not necessarily. But yeah, you're going to get charged a lot more for, of course, like multicolor, direct to garment, and just larger print sizes. So yeah, t-shirts is not something I do a ton of for my brand, and I've actually only done here in the US. I've done a little bit of cut and sew sampling overseas, but nothing I really liked. And yeah, I've only released like 2 or 3 shirts, so that's that. Now, moving on from t-shirts, we have this hoodie that I did a couple years ago for the World Cup, actually. So it's got this cool, massive one color, I believe it was just a direct to garment print. It's got this blur effect on all these soccer players. Then on the back, it actually kind of references those players from the front through these like different headlines. So again, this blank is actually from Made Blank or Made Apparel. Again, I forget the actual like name. Super nice quality. Probably, again, my favorite blanks. I've experimented with independent trading company with LA Apparel, still very good. More of like a mock neck for their t-shirts. But in terms of like hoodies, these cost, and again, it's been a couple years since I've used them. And again, I don't do a ton of just like domestic manufacturing or blank use in general. But yeah, these were $25 a piece. I think that was for both the sample and when I did wholesale. I only made like 10 to 15 of these, so really short product size. But yeah, $25 a piece. Now, what the local printing cost, it kind of racked up pretty quickly. I was in for about, I think, roughly 60 to 70 total, just because of the massive print sizes on this, as well as the front and back. And it was a much smaller order size, so that's kind of why that. Now, there's a lot of things to really consider when you're going into just where you manufacture and things of that nature. You can go manufacture in Europe and China, of course, here in the US. But if you're just starting out, my personal recommendation would be to look into Alibaba, trying to just find some manufacturers that might work for you over in China, or even they have some access to like Pakistan, some other places, which I have done a little bit as well. Of course, your overall costs of sampling and bulk order costs are going to be lower, and yeah, of course, here in the US, it's always going to be more expensive. And also with your blank selection for most like the catalogs, like I said, with your local printer, is probably going to be like not that great. And then you also need to figure out how you want to get your labels printed, like the woven labels, or if you want to do the screen printed labels, that's fine too. But you really got to be thinking about what your kind of brand is going for, like where you're going to be pricing at, like a luxury versus like a mid-tier, I guess, if you will. Like, I'd consider my brand to be kind of like a, again, in that kind of mid-tier price point. Like these hoodies I charged, I think I think like 80 between 80 and 100, I forget, just because this one cost me so much. But most of my hoodies are like 70, 80 bucks. T-shirts are like 30 to 40, things of that nature. So you can kind of reference that. Or if you just want to go super, you know, like a really, really affordable, you know, streetwear clothing brand, whatever. Yeah, you probably need to manufacture overseas. So yeah, that was the in-house stuff in the U.S. So now I'll get into all of my overseas manufacturing. So let's keep it fun and do accessories. So my biggest hit to date, if you will, has been these card holders. Here is all of the colors I've done so far. I've only released these 4 so far. So I found this manufacturer in China, and they were able to manufacture these at just, I believe, $50 a piece, which is not bad for a sample cost. And something like card holders and just accessories in general, you're generally charging, of course, like maybe a bit of a lower price point compared to, you know, your hoodies and things of that nature. But also your margins are going to be very, very good on your accessories in general, which is why I'm just such a fan of accessories, because I feel like there's still a lot of room for innovation and creativity within, you know, most, again, accessories, especially something like a card holder. And yeah, this one has this really small branding on the front, has this quote on the back. That's kind of how I like my big differentiator, if you will. It's got like a motivational quote on the back. They all have a different quote on the back, so that's, again, kind of been my thing. We have this embossing for my my logo. It's like this heart hand, all over embossing logo, and we have the contrast stitching. Of course, 2 slots and the middle slot. And yeah, these were sampled at just $50 a piece. And then I have done quantities of 100 a piece for these, and my landed cost is roughly between $6 to $7, including a little box for all of them to come in as well. So I would highly recommend just something to look into if you want to design like a card holder, wallet, thing of that nature. Super fun to do. Again, these have been my biggest hit. Everyone just finds the color that they really like. People connect with the quotes. I think it's cool. And yeah, I have a really good margin. Of course, I'm charging roughly $34 a piece for these. And of course, they cost $6 to $7 to make. So yeah, you do the math. Could probably even be charging more. I know brands that charge in like $60 to $80 plus for card holders are probably the same quality. I mean, these are pretty good quality. Genuine cowhide leather for these. Yeah, super fire, and yeah, definitely something to think into. So on the conversation of accessories, we have hats. Hats, again, are a really easy one to do. Of course, I'll be linking down all my manufacturers below. But yeah, this hat manufacturer that I've used, honestly, really happy with the work they've done. This is the most recent one I did. Just a really nice fabric I ended up picking out with them. I tried to do a printed blue and white graphic. I actually have it. Here are the previous 2 I did with them. So these were definitely not up to quality, and the printing itself was like sublimated. I just don't like the texture of this, or also just in general, like going with an actual like already made fabric like this was just the right choice. And yeah, these 2 was not like the biggest fan of at all. But yeah, picked a really nice fabric out with them. I did not do custom taping. I normally do for my other hats. I forgot to do with this one. Custom woven label. Of course, we have this kind of raised embroidery in the front. We even did the embossing on the leather strap, embroidery on the back, on the sides. All of that done for a sample cost of roughly $50 again. And pretty similar to the card holders, my landed cost was also roughly like $7 to $8 a piece. So honestly, pretty good. Again, for these, I think I charged $32 on the site. Really like this hat. This is a World Series Dodgers flip hat. Yeah, really cool. Did this one, and they actually ended up winning, so that was pretty cool. I'm not even a big baseball fan, but just really liked how the LA logo could be flipped to do AL, my brand's initials. So yeah, really cool, and highly recommend something to look into is hats. You can do a lot of crazy embroidery and different finishes and things of that nature with just manufacturers in general over in China. And you can, yeah, there's generally a lot of options if you really want to do something crazy, or you can go for something a little more simple and just like, you know, nice semi-luxury. Mine's kind of in the middle. I didn't do too crazy on the embroidery, but still like a good amount. And yeah, stuff like that was a bit of innovation and creativity within there. And yeah, really nice margins, and again, just something to look into. Now, one that you probably never even thought about sampling was ties. Now, the reason I actually made this was because I was inspired from another brand, Fishing for Scale. They did this AK-47 tie. If you don't know them, check them out. A bit more like a grungy type of brand, if you will. I don't know. They make some really cool stuff. And yeah, I saw them drop this like AK-47 tie. It literally looked like an AK-47 pointing down as a tie. And I had this idea because I do a ton of chest related pieces for my clothing brand, just a big hobby that I'm into, and a lot of my inspiration comes from like hobbies and things that I'm personally into. So yeah, I had this idea to do a king chest piece tie. This one cost me, I believe, $40 for the sample. That's mostly just because of the custom shape. In terms of the quality, it's okay. I'm gonna do another sample, maybe a bit of a nicer material. Also, I don't really like this little like strap right here. Gonna probably change this and make it more like a normal tie would be. Yeah, super cool concept. I think this is something that a lot of people could play around with, this type of idea of changing the look and shape of, again, like a tie instead of just changing the actual like pattern on your traditional tie. I went through like 10 to 15 different manufacturers before actually coming across one that could do this, so that was really cool. And yeah, got some good traction on this one so far, so I'll probably end up releasing this. I hope my landing costs will probably be again in the like $5, $6, $7 range. Kind of a common thing with accessories. Again, the sample costs are generally pretty nice, and like 50 to 60 tops. Yeah, the bolt cost is generally pretty low, and your MOQs are generally not too bad. Okay, next up, let's get into jeans. So to date, I have only released one pair of jeans. It was these, and these actually cost me, shipped here, $240 a piece. No, that's honestly much higher than I wanted, and I don't really have a reference point for jeans manufacturing, so I might have gotten scalped a little bit. I guess it happens. That's one thing to be thinking about, is you're just gonna get more experience as time goes on, and a lot of this is just trial and error of finding a good manufacturer, kind of figuring out what a good like price is for samples and bulk orders. And again, all that also relates back to like the quality, where you're getting it manufactured, and thinking about what you're actually going to be charging for your respective pieces. So this was a pretty crazy pair of jeans that I did. This took inspiration from Baby Keem's The Melodic Blue album cover and the No Sense single cover from that album. So it's the 6-color gradient on the front and back. They had to do a ton of different washes and printing with this. I did 4 different samples of these before actually getting a pair that I liked. So yeah, do the math, I was pretty much $1,000, or I probably ended up spending over $1,000 on just these samples alone. So yeah, that was a pain in the ass, but I got that done. Has also the custom button on the front. We have the woven label, the jean tag, all that stuff that goes into it. I paid, again, $240 a sample. I'm sure if you dumb it down or do something a little more traditional, probably gonna be a lot cheaper. And my landed cost for these was roughly $40. So again, a lot higher than I wanted. I believe I charged $88 on the site for these. So again, margins are way worse compared to, again, accessories like the card holders, like the hats. But yeah, this was one that I've had on my mind for a while. I mocked this one up like a year and a half ago, so this one took a while to actually come to fruition. But yeah, finally got these released. I will definitely link them down below, but just be advised that it might be a bit more expensive, and there might be other jean manufacturers that are similar quality at a better price. Again, these are the only pair of jeans I've ever done. Have not sampled other jeans or made other jeans before, so yeah, that was a fun process. A lot I learned from this, but that's that. Okay, next up, let's go to hoodies. Hoodies are another one that I haven't done too many of. I mean, in general, for most products, I've only done like a handful of each. So hoodies is another. This is a hoodie manufacturer I've used for a while. And this actually is essentially the first piece I ever released, just in a different colorway. So back in 2020, when I started the brand, I did this Cactus Point Flea Market rip. That's why you see the kind of some of the imagery and the puff print on this. But yeah, hoodies done overseas, you're generally gonna expect around $100, maybe a little more, $120 for a sample. You might be able to get down to like 70 to 80, depending on where you're working with. I'm actually working on with a Pakistan manufacturer right now, and their samples were $70. So we're going to see how those turn out and come in hand. But yeah, I paid roughly $100 a sample for this. This includes just, again, the puff print all over. Worked on a custom fit for these. They also have like a kind of a larger hood than most do. And yeah, again, large puff print. This is something that definitely like crushed more like 4 years ago than it does now. I released this one last year as the final colorway of this, again, series I've done. This started in green, then I did a brown Terra colorway, and then I did this one for Earth Day last year. Donated a bunch of the proceedings, and yeah, this is a cool hoodie I did. Again, hoodies are probably something you're gonna get into. I would expect to spend between 80 to 120. If you're going, you know, again, much more extravagant with like your fit, or you have some like custom distressing or some type of really unique dye, you might be closer to 150 to 200. Yeah, mine aren't too crazy. Again, just that puff print all over the front. There's a lot of manufacturers you can find on Alibaba that'll do puff print even right now. Obviously not as popular, but that's that. Okay, cool. Next one, probably my favorite, is going to be knits and knit sweaters. So I have a ton of knits I've done, but I'll just highlight this one. So this one, I believe, cost me, again, roughly 100 to 120-ish. And I actually take that back. This one probably cost me close to like 150 to 200. So the knit manufacturer I have is actually really, really good. I have like two actually that I use, but there's one that I have that's like honestly really good. Found out about them because of a referral, and as well as I saw some of the work they had done for other big brands. One thing is when you're looking on an Alibaba and looking for brands to work with, or manufacturers to work with, and you message them and say, hey, here's kind of what I'm trying to do. Can you do it? MOQ, things like that. Always ask for pictures of other work that they've done. Hey, have you done other slimmer knit sweaters? Can I see some pictures of them? And they happened to send me a picture of a sweater from Bad Sun, actually. So this is Bad Sun's sweater manufacturer. I don't know if they still are. This was like 2 or 3 years ago when I first found out about them, this manufacturer. And then, yeah, so pretty much this Bad Sun's manufacturer. They just do really good work. They've done mohair for me. They've done these knit sweater vests, and then also this knit sweater right here. So this was called the Memory Sweater. Again, this is a rip from an LV Virgil thing he did, rest in peace, well, like 4 years ago, the studio sweater. But I took this concept and applied it to golf, one of my also like favorite hobbies. So yeah, really cool concept. Has the players on the front, and then the numbers with the silhouettes, and then on the back it actually has the names of the respective numbers and silhouettes. So yeah, I can link both my knit manufacturers. I have one that's a little bit cheaper for more like simpler knits, and then I have one that does a little bit more crazier slash like also works for like also does like different materials, like the mohair that I have. If you've seen my mohair chest sweater, they did that one. Stuff like this, just a lot of variety. Solid manufacturer, definitely check them out. We'll link them definitely below. Okay, next up we have the jersey manufacturer. So my jersey manufacturer is actually based out of Pakistan. They did my samples for honestly pretty cheap, like $60 to $70. I want to say like 60 to 70. And we have a pretty nice jersey right here. I picked out this pattern, and then they did that. We have the contrasting color and ribbing here. Of course, we have the 2 buttons right here. I like a good jersey that has buttons right there. And then just some nice embroidery on the front with my brand's kind of like little logo. Branding right here. We have even custom woven label. This like print in the background that's like the US flag, and even a jersey number on the back. So yeah, this one cost me, again, roughly 60 to 70 for the sample, which is honestly like a pretty good price. And my landed cost for these was, I think, roughly 25 a piece. So yeah, jerseys I definitely gonna do more of. Wasn't sure how well they do. They didn't do the best probably because like I'm a big soccer fan, but the way I've developed my brand, that's not inherently like a customer base of soccer players or sports people in general. So definitely some work to do there on the marketing side, but jerseys are really fun to do. Definitely something you tap into. You can play around with like the colors, different just like patterns and things of that nature. Probably the next jersey I do will be a little more extravagant on like the pattern side, and just playing around with some concepts. But yeah, can definitely link them below. Also super quick turnaround time on these samples in bulk orders. So that's one thing I have noticed, having worked with some Pakistan manufacturers versus China, is that actually the ones in Pakistan are a little bit quicker on the turnaround times. So like lead times are obviously really nice, and price also seems to be a little bit cheaper. But there is some QC problems that I've had with the handful of times I have used them. So take that into consideration. We'll definitely link them below. And then I have 2 more manufacturers to go over. So one of them is a knit manufacturer, just because they actually did something a little more crazy with this dye effect, so that I shot them out. Now this one actually cost me $200 to sample. Again, I might have overpaid, I'm not entirely sure. Nothing too crazy in terms of just what it was. I think this is actually one of their standard, almost like cable knit kind of sweaters that they have, at least like right here. Yeah, I think I played around with the fit a little bit, I forget. But my big thing was, of course, the embroidery here on the front, and then we have this kind of dye effect that they did. So my first time ever trying something like a custom dye effect like this. Definitely something a little different. And yeah, that ran me between I think maybe like $220 shipped. So that wasn't fun, but we'll link them below. Again, the more you kind of like play around with the concepts and just like a little more like extravagant, if you will, with like the pattern, embroidery, dyes, everything that goes into it. Of course, that cost is going to get higher and higher, but that's also what's going to help separate you in this, again, very saturated business, if you will. If you're into clothing, you know it's incredibly saturated. There's still a lot of room for everyone to eat and to make cool shit and do well. So yeah, last one I'm going to go over is my puffer manufacturer. So here is my puffer. This one definitely took inspiration from House of Errors. Would actually love to have their actual manufacturer, because this one has a bit of a pain to work with. A lot going on. This one is called the Out of Time jacket. Still haven't even released this. This one cost me, again, roughly $250, maybe closer to $300 shipped. Yeah, this one also took like 3 to 4 weeks per sample to do. I've done, again, I believe 3 samples now, so I'm down probably close to 800 on these. Still probably need another one. But yeah, really crazy concept. Still love it. Want to get the overall like pieces to be a little bit more raised, kind of like that 3D kind of look like House of Errors does again. And then it's just mirrored on the back. We have this kind of clock right here, kind of warpy. Again, Out of Time is the concept. Also stemming from The Weeknd's Out of Time song, my favorite artist. So that's kind of how I developed this concept. Even did this little embroidery piece. So yeah, there's a lot going on with this, but this manufacturer, yeah, again, I think they work with Only Curse and one other big streetwear brand. So if you know Only Curse, they do work for them. And again, you're gonna get charged a little bit higher. And also, I haven't even done a bulk order of this, and I think they're recording me closer to like $80, I want to say, maybe like 60. So yeah, it's gonna be expensive, obviously, to do something crazy like this. But we'll definitely link them below, and hoping to get that final sample done soon and kind of get everything I want done with this, because my biggest issues have been with the quality control, with the fitting itself, and also with just that kind of 3D effect. Not entirely sure how much better they can do, but yeah, that's kind of told me the best they can do. So yeah, that was a lot, but those are pretty much one of everything that I have made so far. I did forget one. I did this like chest dress shirt with like a print on it. I can link that down below if you have seen that one before and want to know who manufactured that one. But yeah, that's pretty much all your standard stuff, from your t-shirts to your hoodies to your pants to your puffers and knit sweaters, and even some things like accessories like card holders, throwing a tie in there, hat. I'm also going to be experimenting with more accessories, so we'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, hope you gained some value from something there. If anything, just be thinking about where you're kind of placing your brand at, where you want to be manufacturing at. If you have any questions down below, please let me know. I will answer them to the best of my ability. And of course, like I said before, I'm going to be dropping all the links to these manufacturers down below. So yeah, just tell them, if you hit them up, please tell them Daniel sent you. It just helps me. They sometimes give me free samples or some type of small discount on my actual orders. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today. Again, a bit of a different video, but please drop a like, leave a comment, positive or negative. And yeah, until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.